Hey everyone, it's a Thursday night, and that means it's time for another Mark and Macy show. Macy, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. So this is edition number 30, and if this is the first time you've come across our show, check out our demo reel on YouTube and also at our website, markandmacyshow.webs.com. We also have a Twitter page as well. So we produce our show every Thursday night, right about 7 o'clock. And let's see, what do we want to talk about tonight? It seems like really what's dominated the sports world, Macy, is the Cavs finally winning a championship for Cleveland. So it's been 52 years, and finally, it didn't look like it was going to happen at 3-1, but the Cavs came back and beat Golden State. So Cleveland's in euphoria.
Yeah, I mean, last Thursday we were just talking about there's no way Cleveland's going to come back. Chances are, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And once I see that Cleveland actually wins, the first thing I thought about was last week's show when we both pretty much said chances are slim to none. But hey, I guess that's what sports are all about. And any given Sunday, anything's possible.
I feel pretty embarrassed about this, Macy, but on Facebook and maybe on Twitter, when they went down 2-0, and it wasn't just that they got down 2-0, but they got completely annihilated, didn't look in it, just looked like the Western Conference is so much better than the Eastern Conference that they just waltzed through the Eastern Conference, and there was no way that they could compete against arguably the best team in history, 73-9. They lost the first 2 games. And for anybody who follows this sort of thing, it's the Cleveland Browns, who was the last championship team out of Cleveland in 1964. So I found a picture of the Cleveland Browns from 1964. I posted it on Facebook, and I said, and the answer still is 1964. And here we are. And really nobody challenged me. A lot of people commented, but everybody was kind of like, oh, given up already, or yeah, you're probably right, or you are right, or whatever. And that's what I get. That's what I get. I look really stupid in posting that.
But, though, it's still kind of cool. Like, I mean, to post something that old, a picture like that and create conversation. But, I mean, as long as you kept it and didn't delete it, then
No.
Right, because, hey, stuff happens,
Yeah,
But a lot of people would have deleted that as a status. So props to you for keeping that.
No, I was stupid. I put my foot in my mouth. I've got to be accountable for it. It's there. But it's just that, yeah, if you follow those kind of things, and what's interesting in our discussions is you're more of a feel kind of sports fan, and I'm more of a stats kind of sports fan. So a lot of people do know that answer. Okay, it used to be Boston. It's been other cities, and now it's become Cleveland, the longest since the championship. So the answer was 1964. And so I just threw it up there thinking most people that are sports fans are going to know what I'm talking about by just saying, and the answer still is 1964. But they went on this incredible run. And just to come back from a 3-1, this being the first time in 33 tries that anybody in NBA history has accomplished this, and then to do it against, again, what's arguably the best team in history during the regular season at 73-9 makes the accomplishment even more ridiculous.
Yeah, what I thought was the most interesting part was you look at someone like LeBron James and then someone like Steph Curry, and going into this series, you would think, looking at the two players, LeBron James probably has more of the attitude, kind of the swag. He's bounced back from Miami, had his own decision show, all that nonsense. So he kind of comes in with this swag attitude, I'm older and better than you, but then goes down 2-0. So you're kind of questioning, all right, where are you going to turn this on and be the leader that you are? But then you see someone like Steph Curry, who's just been phenomenal and has been unstoppable, who came in with such a great attitude, bringing his kids, doing all this cool stuff. But as the series went on, I think roles kind of reversed, and LeBron really became the mature athlete and the team leader, and Steph Curry had more of an attitude, throwing the mouth guard and all that stuff towards the end of the series than LeBron did. So I was honestly very shocked to actually see that happen and kind of see how it switched over.
It also shows us how quickly momentum can change in sports, if there is such a thing. And I believe in it. I think it's a little bit overplayed, but I believe in it definitely. As a team can gain a chemistry, a feel, they can get in the zone, it can carry, and then something can possibly break it, or just the other team does something dramatic to change it, or a bad break maybe fluctuates and the momentum goes to the other side. But I definitely think that there's momentum in sports, especially basketball. The home court advantage in basketball is pretty substantial, more so than the other two major sports. You could speak to hockey better than I could. But yeah, I thought LeBron James was a pretty
Calm.
pretty calm.
Yeah, like he didn't have his attitude that he, tends to have, I don't think.
So you're talking about after they got down?
Yeah, just throughout the whole series. I was expecting LeBron to come in with this big LeBron attitude that he usually carries, and being down, I think it kind of maybe level-headed him and said, hey, we need to step up and play basketball and not have these attitudes, and that's what eventually won. Look at Steph Curry throwing the mouth guard, Steph Curry's wife even getting involved with the tweets, just stuff like that. Eventually it will get to you, and it will get to your head, and all it takes is sometimes one small thing, and it's a domino effect that affects the whole team. And when your leader like Steph Curry kind of crumbles, maybe so does the rest of the team.
And Draymond Green throwing punches where he shouldn't throw punches.
Yeah, Draymond being suspended too was a little much. Not what we all expected, but it happens. Got to keep playing.
Can you think of an athlete, either one that you really liked and followed, that maybe you felt betrayed your team because they left, or just in general following sports as well as you do? It's just funny to me that at the time that LeBron made the decision to move to Miami to further his career, whatever his decision was, whatever the reasons why, and then not every Cleveland sports fan, but tons of Cleveland sports fans wrote this guy off, traitor, he's the devil, he's the worst person on the planet. And then, of course, all's forgiven when he comes back. I would almost think, Macy, that it would be hilarious if LeBron said, because he is at the end of a contract, said, see ya, I accomplished what I need to accomplish here. I'm going to move on and go to wherever. Wonder what the reaction would be.
Well, I mean, of course he did say, and they made a big point of him saying, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But, like you were mentioning before, when LeBron originally left Cleveland and went there, I just remember jerseys being burned. That's when Twitter was really taking off and social media was becoming a huge thing. So many people were going out to buy LeBron James jerseys just to burn them, destroy them, to do whatever they can to taunt him. And he got, for the couple of years in Miami, he was just destroyed all the time because he was that guy that left. And then to see him come back and to see people have to pull that jersey back out or go and buy new ones was probably one of the craziest things in sports that I've ever witnessed, and something I'll always remember, because him going there was so dramatic, and then him leaving and people were so accepting to have him back, which you would think they wouldn't, but obviously he knew what he wanted, and he proved to them that he could do it for them. If he went back and was nothing but a bust, people would hate LeBron James. But he proved to be somewhat of the athlete that he is, and
that just goes to show, Macy, how thin our love for these athletes is. It's all predicated on their performance, and that's why they're who they are, and that's why we cheer for them. But it's a little sad, but obviously if they didn't perform to the level that we anticipated, well, that's the whole reason we have any kind of relationships, kind of a interesting term there, but that's what I'm coming up with. And a relationship with these athletes is because we watch them play. Otherwise, we don't have a relationship with them. They're not in our lives. So our love, and that's really not love, because love is somewhat unconditional. It should be based on other things, not you give me this, therefore I'm crazy about you kind of thing. But that's what it is in sports. So I'm just a different kind of sports fan, Macy. You got to psychoanalyze me, I guess, because you know that the NBA doesn't really rate for me, but I have been a Cavs fan my whole life, and a bigger Cavs fan in the past. But when LeBron James left Cleveland, I was like, business decision, bye. I understand. That's I work for ESPN. You can fill in the blank of whoever you work for and a competitor. I think I'm very loyal to my company, but if some competitor came by and said, we're going to pay you twice as much money, well, there goes the loyalty. I'm going to leave my job just like most people would. Or if it was just a better situation for whatever reason. And we hold these athletes to some different standard, and we think that they owe us something.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting transitions in sports is these athletes flowing from team to team, and some of these guys stay here for teams for a really long time, and some guys are 2 years and out, 1 year and out, whatever. And I think that's so interesting to see the reactions from fans and how welcomed they are, especially if a person goes to a team and then comes back, or once they play that team. I see it. You see it in hockey all the time. Those guys are always getting traded, and when that guy comes back to play against his old team, I'm always like, are these fans who have loved him, are they going to love him, or are they going to hate against him? And I think that's so interesting. And I've been sitting here thinking this whole time about someone who has left a team that I've loved, and I mean, I can't think of a name off the top of my head that I was really, really hurt by. But I mean, for sure, anytime a New York Giant left to go to the Philadelphia Eagles, I wanted no part of them anymore because you're going to the enemies. So anytime a Giant ever left New York and went to Philadelphia, no bueno.
But that was the one destination that you couldn't forgive them.
Yeah, you could go anywhere else, but do not go to Philadelphia.
Okay, even Dallas, even Washington.
Yeah, I don't mind those two as much.
Oh, okay. I thought you hated the Cowboys.
I mean, yeah, but the Cowboys are the Cowboys. I mean, the Eagles are this is what I deal with. I'm in Eagles territory.
Okay.
So I hate to see someone excel for a team that I'm stuck around when they used to play for the team I root for.
I kind of blanked out on that for a second. Yeah, you're a Philly girl. You're in Philly. I'm guessing for the standard Giants fan, their hatred for the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Eagles is probably pretty even depending on who's really good at that point.
Yeah, they mostly hate Dallas, but Dallas has kind of been irrelevant. But everyone just still hates Dallas. That's the only thing I have in common with Eagles fans is that we both hate Dallas. But living here, being a fan of the other team is, that hurts.
I think Seinfeld was the first one to point this out. We root for laundry. I think he was the first one to make a joke about that we root for laundry. The one defense I'll make for Cleveland or Northeastern Ohio basketball fans, NBA fans, is that LeBron didn't go to college, so he went straight from a high school, St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron, Ohio, straight to the Cavs. And he was considered the best player, the #1 draft pick. So he was kind of the savior who didn't go off to wherever. He went straight from high school. So he's got a Cavs uniform on from day one. And he played for a bad team. He brought them to the NBA championship series. They lost. And so he was supposed to be the guy from day one, and he's a hometown guy, and then he leaves. It wasn't just, okay, it's Eli Manning leaving the Giants, but he's from New Orleans. He's from Ole Miss. He was the hometown kid who was supposed to bring the ultimate prize. And at that point, it seemed like it was never going to happen, and he dashed all their dreams and turned his back on them. I still think it's not logical, but I can understand the heartfelt decision there by the fans a little bit more so than some other situations out there.
I mean, I think I personally feel it more in college football. If there's a kid that's only a junior and decides to declare for the NFL draft, you feel kind of like I know, again, it's a business decision. It's a life decision. You have the talent and skill, but as a fan, you don't want them to go because you still consider having them for, hey, I still have him next year, but hey, now he's gone. I don't have him. So I would say in college, I probably get more hurt, even with coaches. When I loved Urban Meyer. I thought he was a great coach. Of course, worked with Tim Tebow. But when he went to Ohio State, just once you go there, that's out for me. So it's interesting. Penn State, Larry Johnson, one of the best coaches at Penn State forever there. He up and left for Ohio State. I respect him as a coach. I respect him as a person, as a friend. But come game day, comes football season, or you even wear those colors. Yeah, but I get it. It's all like you said. It's business. It's what we all do. We all do it. We all leave jobs. We all pursue things that are just better for us.
It's amazing, Macy, that we've made it 30 weeks. Sometimes this hits me because sometimes, most of the time, it's like, hey, this is great. We talk sports. We have a great time doing it. My favorite night of the week. But sometimes it hits me that, wow, we're just on different planets. And so Urban Meyer, when he was at Florida, and especially when he beat Ohio State in the national championship game, there was not a worse guy on the planet. And then he flipped to the good side, and there is not a better guy on the planet now. And then for you,
I'm just saying. I mean,
not getting along these days.
I mean, it's what happens. It's business. I was excited for Bill O'Brien to come in at Penn State, but I was angry when I saw it was New Year's Eve. I'll never forget New Year's Eve. Bill O'Brien out. That's what happens in the world of sports.
That is very true. That is very true. And it's fun to be emotionally attached, but you have to have a bit of a reason involved. And not be burning jerseys or praising people and lifting them to incredible heights that are beyond human, as some people do, unfortunately. So I mentioned to you before we came on that my son went to the parade. The parade, I think for those people who are emotionally attached like myself, I don't watch these championship parades because they're just teams going down and speaking, and really don't have a whole lot of interesting things to say in front of the fans. But I was tuned into this one because my son loves the Cavs. He was there, and I'm a Cavs fan, so I watched it. I don't know outside of that it was that special, other than it's not like in hockey, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they win all the time, right? So
Yep.
They've done this like 4 times in 10 years. So probably the parade's kind of lost its luster. But when this is the first time you've done this in 52 years, that's why everyone went crazy.
Yeah, it was so interesting. I got a ESPN alert on my phone talking about how 1.3 million fans joined the Cleveland Cavaliers for this parade. And I read that and I just stopped because I thought to myself, there's no way there's 1.3 million Cavaliers fans who are legitimate Cavs fans.
So you're not debating that the estimate was off. Who knows what the estimate, how accurate it was?
No, I just think it's people within that area who say,
yeah,
hey, when are we, who knows if we're going to ever see something like this again?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's go. But then you say, you mentioned like your son, like we were talking earlier, he went, he's a Cavs fan, of course, but there's people going just to see LeBron James. And that itself, I think, was more of a seller than, just any team that hasn't won in a while winning a championship.
Yeah, I guess sports is really a unique dynamic when it comes to that, because if you love a musician, you love them all the time because they create music that you like. Sports, they win, they lose, they're more attractive when they win. It's the thing to do. People around me are into it, so I'm going to join in. It's just a different dynamic. And yeah, I don't think either one of us have a whole lot of respect for people that don't know who plays on the team, and suddenly near the Super Bowl or near the World Series or fill in the blank, the championship, they suddenly, wow, I'm going to buy some gear and I'm into this team.
Yeah, I'll never forget 2008. I was junior in high school. Phillies won the World Series. And just because we're somewhat local, have easy access to downtown Philadelphia, school was empty that day. I think I was one of the only kids there. And yes, I'm not saying these kids aren't Phillies fans. Of course, they're diehard Philly fans there. But a lot of them, they don't watch baseball. They didn't watch every game of the season. They weren't following the Phillies record, but because it was a thing to go to, it was what everyone else was doing because it will look cool on social media. That's what you go and do, and that's what people did. It was something to do, something to day drink, somewhere to celebrate, somewhere to just party on the streets, and you can do it. I mean, for this Cleveland one, I saw people like, positioning themselves on building walls and like holding themselves up. Like it's wild. And I don't think these people do it to celebrate the team, but just to have a reason to party and say I was a part of that.
And that bothers you.
Um, kind of. I mean, I guess it's cool, but um, if you're there and you don't care, that bothers me.
Yeah, and when I say that bothers you, I'm not putting you down because it kind of bothers me too. It's like if you're in a room or a bar, wherever you're watching the game, and suddenly that place is kind of behind that local team, but you truly are. You're watching the Giants and the players and you're invested in the team and you truly love them. But just because it's a playoff game or whatever it is, a Super Bowl, there's suddenly all these people around you that are into the Giants. I'm just throwing out a team.
No, you're
Uh,
you're totally right. I mean, the year the Giants won the Super Bowl, I was in college. I could not get home to go to the parade. I couldn't get there. And just to see people who actually did go and post things on social media, I'm like, whoa, you're a Giants fan? It's just if people are close or people are local, they go and just celebrate. And it kind of bothered me, like, hey, I'm a diehard fan. I've been living and breathing the New York Giants since I was born, and I'm at school taking a test today, and you're in the streets of New York celebrating what? Do you even know, like you said, a roster, the team, a coach, anything? But I guess that's what sports are. You see it all the time. People go to sporting events and don't even know who's playing or what's going on or whatever. So it is what it is.
yeah. And there's a reason we're doing this show. We can't relate to that because we truly love sports and we love the teams that we root for and even the teams that we don't root for because we're into football, baseball, basketball. We know most of the league and what's going on. So it's just a different thing for other people. So one of us brought up baseball cards a few weeks ago, a few months ago, for whatever reason, and you were like, I got nothing. Well, now you got something.
Yeah, so today my grandmother just gave me three Roberto Clemente cards. They were my grandfather's. It was his favorite player, and she knows I'm so into sports, so she brought down a big picture of him for me. It's black and white, so it'll look great in my room next to Muhammad Ali, and three cards. And it was interesting right before the show. I've never owned baseball cards. They weren't really a thing for me or my generation. Maybe some of the boys did, but we never collected them, traded them. At my age, everyone was trading and collecting Pokemon cards. That was the cool thing. So, to actually now own three cards that do go together. One is four-time batting champ. The other one is about his hidden talent and his 3,000 hit club. And it's really, really interesting. They kind of tell information about them on the back, and I've just never had anything like this. Like, they're old, but they're in these plastic things. They're in plastic inside of the plastic. It's a really cool thing to have, and especially since they were my grandfather's, it's even cooler, and it means that much more to me. Roberto Clemente. The only thing I really think about him is my grandfather. Way before he was way before my time, but it was just cool. So my dad and I were discussing, like how he would collect and trade baseball cards when he was younger, and the ones they didn't care about, they'd put on their bikes so that when they would ride, it would make like the clicking sound. All this cool stuff that I would never had or was a part of, and it's interesting to see here and there. You see it that, oh, this card is worth this much money, or this original card. So it's just cool now that I can say, I only have three, but I have my own baseball cards.
All right, you've started your collection with three, and I think you bring up a lot of different reasons why that means something to you. It's a present from your grandma, so it's different than just you came across three baseball cards or some random person sold them or gave them to you. So there's sentimental value because of that. You're a baseball fan, you're a true baseball fan, and even though that was before your time, obviously all we have to do is look over your shoulder and see that you have appreciation for history. And Roberto Clemente, one of the great baseball players of all time, and one of the classic players of his era, and that's cool stuff. So yeah, I got inspired, and so I brought down just one of many. So I didn't organize the cards, but the boxes and everything a couple months ago. And so I've got like shoe boxes like stacked this high. The last I remember, I had about 8,000 cards. So this is just a few hundred here. But so when we used to get baseball cards, yeah, we'd go to the gas station, and we'd buy baseball cards, and they'd come in a little packet, and they smelled like bubble gum because you'd have a little stick of bubble gum, and it was horrible. I don't know if you've ever seen the bubble gum that used to come, and maybe still does, I don't know, in baseball cards, but it was the worst bubble gum you could ever imagine, but it was still great. You would just still have to chew the bubble gum, but because it was like hard as a rock by the time it sat there for 4 months on the shelf. But and what was cool is they used to release the entire set, so you could buy the 1991 Topps complete set, and that wasn't the fun way to do it though, because you knew you had every player and you had one of each, and there's your shipment. But the fun way was to go to the store and buy the pack, because you didn't know what was in the pack. You didn't know what players. So you would be like, oh, I have 8 of Jim Spencer, but I don't have any J.R. Richard. And then you would trade with your friends because they needed a Jim Spencer, but not a J.R. Richard and stuff. So I had them all organized by team, and those are all J.R. Richard cards on that. Yeah, this is going way back.
Yeah, I think it's so cool, and I wish it was still a cool thing to do. Like, wouldn't that be cool to trade with your friends? Wouldn't it be cool to interact with people on Twitter to see what they have compared to what you have and what you're looking for? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many cool things out there now with today's technology that you could do with baseball cards. And I don't know. Like, now I want my dad to take out his baseball cards, and now I want to look at all of them. You know?
Yeah, they're fun to look at. Especially if you have some kind of connection with the players, but still, if you're a baseball fan, you can appreciate even guys that you didn't know from years and years ago. My son was like into it, and then it only took a couple of years and he didn't care anymore. And I actually bought his baseball cards off of him. I just said, I'll give you $100, give me all your baseball cards. And he was like, yeah, I don't care, I'll take $100. So I have all of his cards too. So my love of baseball cards has definitely outlasted his. But yeah, they're very cool. And I don't even know, based on what I understand, they're not worth a whole lot. There was a time when they really escalated in value, and I sold some, and I didn't make a fortune, but you could make some money. But I think unless you have some rare ones, that they're not worth a whole lot. But yeah, they're cool to keep. And I was thinking about announcing like a Google's Hangout and having anybody who wanted to trade baseball cards or buy baseball cards or whatever jump on with me. But yeah.
I bet you there's a lot of people that would talk about baseball cards because that was a really big thing.
Yeah.
Baseball
really
cards were huge. And then my dad went to tell me too about, maybe you know about this, maybe not, I'm not sure. They used to get them off the bottom of 7-Eleven cups.
Oh yeah.
Were they like little coins or little tokens or
oh okay,
like a chip? Is that what it was?
I thought you were talking about they used to have like stickers.
Oh, maybe it's a sticker.
Yeah.
And you would like collect them and trade them, right?
Yeah, it was just like another form of baseball cards. They would have
Yeah.
little stickers, and I had a book when I was probably like 8 years old that had it was almost like a coloring book, but it was stickers, and it would have different baseball scenes, and you would take the sticker and put it in, and it would fit with another sticker, and it would tell a story. Like you couldn't tell by looking at the sticker what it was supposed to be, but it was like a guy's shoulder or something, and you would put it all together.
No,
And it was a baseball
I
picture.
think it's really cool, and that goes back to like old school sports of, you know, kind of things of the past that kids nowadays have no idea about. And this got me thinking, and I'm sure you'll probably have an answer because this is something I have to really think about, but is there one baseball card, and not because of money value, but one baseball card you really said, I wish I had that one?
Oh wow. When I first was a baseball fan, I loved Reggie Jackson, and I had his second year card, and I never got his rookie card. So that's the first thing that comes to mind would be Reggie Jackson's rookie card.
Yeah, I think I would go with David Wright rookie card. I
Yeah.
mean, David Wright for me has been baseball, so that's something I'd want to have, but it's so interesting. It's not a thing anymore. Like when did baseball cards just die out? What ended baseball cards?
Well, you know what happened. I'm
Not
no
like
baseball.
something new and came and replaced them,
No.
you know?
And I'm no expert on baseball cards. Even when I collected a bunch, it wasn't like I like read about it and like I knew much, but I just liked them. Uh, the thing that I know that happened to baseball cards is at one point when I was a kid, you just bought, there were Tops. That was the big label. That was a big brand. And then there was like Don Russ and Fleer. But you knew if you bought a Cal Ripken Jr. card, everybody knew that was into baseball cards what it looked like because that was the only Cal Ripken Jr. card there was. And then the market got so flooded with all these different brands and premium series and the gold series and the all-star series, and like it kind of watered down, from what I understand, it watered down the value of these cards because there was no longer a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. There were 27 Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards. And I guess that was kind of the downfall of baseball cards as I understand.
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense.
I'm going to like put these away because I keep looking over at them to see who's on the next page.
No, but it's really cool. I mean, and like you said, there's guys that maybe weren't great players, but when you look back at it, 20 years down the road and say, "Oh yeah, remember him or remember this?" Like I don't have the memory to remember every guy, but if I had something like that where I could look at it 30 years from now and say, "Oh, and remember so and so," like I think that's a really cool thing.
Oh, I think it's one of the reasons why people like myself remember a ton of statistics. Like I don't remember the stats from last season, but I remember the stats from when I was 10 years old because I had baseball cards and I'd
Yep.
look at the back and it would just
It would click.
click.
Yep.
I just came across a page of baseball cards and they would do funny things like this. They had like caricatures of guys. Like I just came across a Roger Clemens, he had a big
Okay.
head, which is probably actually kind of closer to reality than they knew at the time. But he had like a big head and he had a little caricature of himself, with a little body.
That's cool. No, I think baseball cards are a really cool thing now. And now I like want to go out and find them, but at the same time, I don't want to collect them just to collect them because like these have so much more of a value to me
Yeah.
than just, a baseball card. And so hopefully one day maybe my dad will give me his baseball cards.
So he's got quite a few.
Yeah, I guess. I've never really seen them. I've just heard about them.
He tucks them away. They should not be seen.
Yes,
They're
he
too
he has
valuable.
that and original Star Wars character things. I don't know what they are. And it's like those are the forbidden, like do not touch, look at anything. So maybe one day.
I guess they've kind of gone the way of the bobblehead. The same thing happened to the bobblehead, right? That's not a big thing anymore, is it?
I don't think like I know at like ballparks they still have like bobblehead night, but it's not like people collect them
Yeah.
anymore. Like I think it's just a funny giveaway and that's it. I know before people used to collect them. That was a big thing to collect and you know, but I don't think anymore, at least.
All right, everyone. This is the Mark and Macy show. And here's the deal. Like 7 months ago, I wanted to do a show, and somebody that we both know found Macy for me. So we started this sports show. So we love doing this sports show, and we would like to talk about stuff that we want to talk about, but we also want to hear from you as well. So you can find us in Twitter at Mark and Macy Show. You can also find our website at markandmacyshow.webs.com. So we would like to continue doing our show each and every week, but we would like to hear from you as well.
For sure. It's more fun. Fun.
All right.
Fan interaction.
Yes, exactly. All right, Macy.
All right. Well, have a fabulous weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy. Yes, I'll thank you. I will try.
All right. We will see everyone later.